welcome to the Sleon Productions podcast. These podcasts are getting, much better. They're getting, more encouraging, more motivating, and today's guest is a very motivating guest as well. We got Matt Balducci. He is a husband, a father, a high-performance men's coach, speaker, Amazon bestseller, and a bodybuilder. He runs a men's optimization group called The Healthier, Wealthier, Happier Man, and he helps men create results. Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Awesome. I appreciate you, Santiago, reaching out to me. It was funny. You were just telling me that, the way we kind of connected was from another podcast I was on, which is kind of cool, which makes me feel good because that means that I did a good job. So
yeah,
hopefully I'll do a good job for you today, and we'll have some fun.
Absolutely. You're very high energetic, and I had you on, even though we haven't met in person, but you're a very friendly person, people person, and everything else. But first question, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So currently, I just sold. I owned a business, equity in a business that I just got the opportunity to actually sell, which is really exciting. So I've been wrapping up the transition here over the last 6 months. And we're basically about 70 days out from the full transition out of the business, which is kind of awesome. So I've had kind of a freedom for the last year to kind of go after some of my bigger goals that I've always had, which was to become a speaker, and led me down kind of an interesting rabbit hole where I actually fell into kind of going down the business coaching path, which I can help businesses kind of scale and systemize. And, I definitely like doing that. But what I really discovered was my true passion was kind of motivating and helping fellow men that are in kind of a similar boat to me, that are high achievers, that, kind of fall into the world that we live in, which is they go from being a high achiever to, when you hit your 30s and your 40s, you kind of fall into the average world, and you kind of look around and go, holy crap. Is this really all that there is? And what I discovered that I was missing in my life was kind of that community of men out there that, that could push me forward. I noticed that a lot of my buddies, which there's nothing wrong with them, were my high school, college, and work buddies. And a lot of times, you outgrow them, or everyone kind of falls into that average realm. So. But that's just kind of what I'm doing now, which is exciting. But, just a real quick background. I grew up in Chicago. My parents are amazing, absolute amazing parents. I grew up right above the poverty line. And, so I learned from an early age that you can work really, really hard. What I discovered was that entrepreneurship was the way for me to kind of get out of the average world that I was in, which there's nothing wrong with being an employee, nothing wrong with going the corporate path. But I just learned early on that it wasn't for me, and that I could make more money running my own businesses and kind of in that regard. And so I went down that path for the last decade plus of running 4 different companies. And it's just been an awesome up and down. Anybody who out there that's listening that's an entrepreneur knows the ups and the downs of business, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So right now I'm super pumped to be on here with you, Santiago, and learn a little bit more about yourself, and really hope I can give your listeners some value. So I hope that gives everyone a little bit of background.
No, yeah, this is great. So you were saying your previous business, you're just in the point of selling it, right?
Yeah, so it's actually already the equity's already sold. My business partner bought me out. The only thing that was in my agreement was that I would help the transition up until the end of the fiscal year. And honestly, for myself, I wanted to make sure, for financial reasons, I want to make sure the year finishes off the right way. So, because I'm generating profit from the business this year, and then after that, then that's when the buyout will officially go live, if that makes any sense. But the transition actually has been amazing. The guy who bought me out actually was my first intern I had 5 years ago, and I developed him over the last 5 years, and he's become one of my best friends. And it just came to both of us. It hit me, like I was saying, as a high-performing man. I was slightly unhappy, not necessarily with the business, but I was slightly not as passionate, and it's because I wasn't being myself. I wasn't being congruent with who I'm supposed to be. And he felt that, I felt it, and we were able to make a win-win deal together that benefits him and myself for the next few years. And we're both freaking pumped about it.
So, having 4 businesses in your life, I mean, you're so young. Can you name a person or a company that really influenced you to get this far?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I'll tell you right now that I don't care what anybody says. There's no such thing as self-made. No such thing. Like, you can say you're self-made. And when I was younger, I used to say that. And honestly, I'll tell you right now, first person in my life was my dad. And, he's probably the hardest worker you'd ever meet. And, I looked up to him for most of my life, even to now. And then as you go along your career path, you want to basically build a group of men. Well, a group of people, doesn't have to be men, but a group of people that give you different things, different value points. Now, again, you have to give them value too, that could be for another topic, but basically along the way, I kind of gathered up this group of guys and women that I look up to that have helped me continue moving forward. And, first was my dad. I have an older brother that I look up to. They were both extremely encouraging for me. Then when I went into college, I met the guy that helped me start my first business. His name's Taylor. He was just an all-around great guy. I looked up to him. And then it was funny. I just got off a call with a man named Maurice. And Maurice and I only knew each other for 3 months when I was younger, like 22 or 23. And 7 years later, we reconnected. And this morning we had a 20-minute call, unsolicited. He called, he said, Matt, pop me a call. He gave me all these unbelievable good tips. He's like 60, 65 and been a owner, president, run way more companies you can imagine. And, and what I found is people want to help other people. And it's just, I think I might have mentioned this in that podcast, it's my favorite quote. It's, yell your goals from the rooftops, and the village idiots will come out and try to stop you. And that happens a lot. And sometimes the village idiots are your brain. It's yourself. And it's the doubts, the fears, and anxieties. And then also, obviously, there's probably people in your life that are idiots. But then what you find is the village leaders come out and they will support you. And again, Maurice out of nowhere, we reconnected on LinkedIn, and it's been 7 years since we spoke. And I was young at the time, super young, and just a great guy. And it just continuously happens, especially when you put into the world and you give value. People want to give you value, and if you become more of a giver than a taker, it just sounds nuts. There's just things that come to you that you can't actually explain to anyone. You're like, wait, how does that continuously happen? Now, again, anytime that I became a taker, which I'm not perfect, and there was definitely a few years in there where I was a taker, I was blaming everyone for my failures, and I'll tell you right now, as soon as you fall into that world, what you're going to find is you're going to get more of that over time. So you're going to get more people that you think, and instead you got to take personal accountability for what's going on in your life. And it's pretty cool what happens when you do that, and then you start looking at it from a different perspective of giving. Like, for instance, if I get, nothing from this podcast, but I get to meet Santiago, and who knows in 10 years what he's going to be up to, who knows what I'm going to be up to. We might, you just never know how the world works, and it's so cool. But yeah, so that would be my, my
yeah, no, it's a good answer. Yeah. And you just never know what's going to happen, who you meet, through the internet, through a podcast, and with the power of cell phones and, communicating, which I actually met a guy, about a couple of weeks ago, and that's all he does. He just talks to people. He mentors people over the phone. And he's like, I'd rather just talk to you on the phone than just meeting up in person, because it's quicker. It's just, everything's so all time managed. Can you tell us about your current venture? What is this men's group all about?
Perfect. So like I mentioned in the very beginning, I just noticed that in my life personally, even as a high performer, I had this bit of loneliness, and I'll explain it. So I have a friend group, I have a family, I have a wife, my life is great. But there was just this missing component, which was like that community, that sports team. I don't know if anybody used to be on, sports teams in high school or college, or the military, or being in a fraternity where, everyone in that group is going after kind of a similar goal to win. And I just realized that I was missing that, and I was like, well, there's probably a huge I guess, business out there that can be generated from this. And and my goal was to make an impact, but also build a business. And I was like, wait a second, I can do both. And so what I created was what's called the Healthier, Wealthier, Happier Man. Now, obviously, the title kind of gives you what the overall perspective is, but what we do is we basically build teams of 12. There is a small fee to be a part of the group, but we hand select every single person. So we do an interview, and we make sure obviously that person is going to bring value to the group as well as take value. And we put together this group of 12 men, and then we break the 12 men into teams of 2. So you have not only a group, then you have your accountability partner throughout the whole program. And then alongside the community, I built out a 90-day training program on health optimization. Like you said, I'm a bodybuilder. It's actually just something I just become. I was 27% body fat a year and a half ago, and I decided to become a bodybuilder. And I started studying how the brain works and how you can actually change your view on who you are. And I started eating like a bodybuilder, talking like a bodybuilder. Even when I was overweight, I was telling people I was a bodybuilder. And I remember a guy was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, my show's in next year." And but now I'm pretty much primed and ready to go. I think I'm at like 8 or 9% body fat right now, and I have a 6-pack for the first time in my life. And the reason I say that is not to, but it's what I've noticed is that a lot of times we fall out of being top performers. When I was in high school, I played baseball for the USA team, and I won a bronze and silver medal, and it's nuts because I was, in shape then. So what happened? Why did I fall out of shape? It's because we fall into the average world and we start comparing ourselves to other guys. The problem is if you're comparing yourself to other guys that aren't in shape, they're not good husbands, they're not good fathers, they're not the right example. They're hard workers, but they hate their jobs. I just realized that wasn't what I wanted. So the whole entire side of the program, so you have community, which helps men basically assist in helping them hit their goals they want in 90 days, alongside a 12-week program, which goes over productivity hacks, health optimization, longevity. We talk about, improvement on mindset, how the brain works, and everything is science-backed and systems-backed. So it's not just motivation, like rah, rah, rah. It's, let me explain to you why, if you get a quality night's sleep and you actually structure out your night's sleep, you're actually going to be functionally more effective as a husband, father. You're going to become healthier. You're actually going to improve your income versus the age-old just go grind it, and I do a lot of different trainings on that. So the program is just awesome. So it's our launch. We're doing a launch here September 14th, 2018. It's going to go till December 14th. And then at the end of it, we're going to get everyone together for a 2.5-day, just unbelievable, high caliber men's retreat where we're going to basically bring out the competitive, playful. We're going to be talking about, how to take the momentum that they just built in 90 days into the new year of 2019. And as we grow, we're going to be building out more 12-person groups starting in January, but this is going to be group 1. We already have 4 spots filled as we're recording this, so we're looking for 8 more men. I've declined a few guys, not in a mean way, but some people just aren't the right fit for the program. And then we have a couple guys that are in the waiting list right now. So we're looking to make this first group awesome. The 4 guys in the group right now are just unbelievable guys. And my goal is to basically build a 12-person group of guys my caliber or above, and that way we all can push each other and be that, the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, So that would be what's going on over here, but it's super, super fired up about it. And I think it's going to change a lot of guys' lives. And the coolest part is I think the trickle effect. By helping that man, what's going to happen is we're going to improve their family life, which means their kids are going to have a better father to look up to. Their wives are going to have a more present husband. And the biggest thing is they're gonna improve their ability at work, whether they run a business or they're a high level employee. They're going to go increase their income, which means they're going to have a drastic impact on their economy and anything else that's going on. So it sounds nuts, but that's basically why I created it and why it's a kind of a twofold, a little different than just having a men's group where you go in, you just talk, which there is an aspect of that. But there's also high performance training on the side of it that each individual can implement into their day. And so I think it's going to change a lot of guys' lives, and I'm super pumped about it. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be with all guys. What's the criteria to join your program?
So there isn't a specific criteria other than you had to have been a high achieving person in the past. So what I mean by that is you have to have some sort of ability to. So I can't. As much as I love, I want to help men out there. There is one thing that in the future we might basically accept that, but for this first group, we're just being highly selective, and it's simple. We want to make sure. I don't know if anybody's ever watched the show The Biggest Loser. What most people don't know about that show is people that are selected typically were in shape in their past and they got out of shape. So they actually do a genetic test to make sure that you can actually lose weight, get back into shape. They also look at your mentality, your brain. Now, again, I don't do this for my group, but the reason I'm using this as an example is they're not idiots, right? They know that their show is all about helping people get results. So if they put someone on there that's been 400 pounds since they were a little kid, the chances of them being able to completely change their life is really difficult compared to you take an ex-athlete who just happened to, for whatever reason, put on 150 pounds in the last 6 years. They need to lose that 150 pounds, and they were a competitive, swimmer. Guess what? They're gonna be able to hit that mindset back and get them to go. So when I say that doesn't mean you have to be like this crazy high achiever, but what we do want is someone who, they were the captain of their sports team when they were younger, right? Maybe they're a high level manager at their job, whatever that might be, or they own a business and they need that group, so the four, just to kind of give, I guess, a better rationale, the four guys that are in the program, one's an ex-army, ex-military who now owns a business, with his wife, has 5 kids at home, is extremely busy. Another guy is he's a speaker. He's in his mid-30s, and he's corporate wellness. He just sold a business. And again, I know this might intimidate some people out there, but don't be worried if that's not you, but you're used to be, back in the day. But another guy's owns a very successful chiropractic business. He's used to be a power lifter. And all of them are, high achievers. They just kind of have fallen into the average mindset. And so now the program is to basically rejuvenate them and help them get back to being who they were supposed to be, which is these exceptional men. But sometimes even those guys, just for myself, we still have issues. We still have things in our brain that hold us back, so it's just kind of to help liberate some of them to go back to that mindset and be around other guys that are high achieving. So there isn't an exact qualification. It's just more of a, when I meet you, we'll have a chat and there's a good vibe. There is a cost to the program as well. So obviously that does push some people away, which is okay. What I found is that when, if you go to the gym and they say, hey, you can use the gym for free, chance of you showing up are not you're probably not gonna get as much out of it versus when you invest actual money. There's something about when you put money down that makes you want to go all in, and it's actually really low cost for what this program is. And I don't mean to just say that to get more people excited, but it's a really low cost program for now. It will increase as we grow, but I made it really reasonable. I put it in a price range where it's expensive enough to where it'll push some people away, and cheap enough where it's not going to be this like crazy thing you have to like go figure out how you're going to pay for. It's really, really, really priced so well. So it's again, it's just making sure that people are actually serious and can give value to the group. So yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's great. And how can people find out more about the program? How can they apply? Things like that.
So the easiest way currently, so I have a website going up in the next month, but we're deciding right now between a couple of URLs that we're going to go do. And I do have a website, Matt Balducci. Now that's my old website. So if you go on there, it's all about systemizing companies and being a business coach and all that. So, but there is a schedule, so you can schedule up a call. It's go.mattbalducci.com/momentum. Or you can just go on LinkedIn, friend me, connect with me, and then say, hey, Matt, I heard you, on Santiago's podcast. I would love to learn more about the program. Now, the first call there's going to be no pressure to join. And again, the reason is I'm a husband and father myself, and obviously it is an investment. So, after we chat, you might be all in from the call, or you might need to take a week and go talk to your wife or talk to your significant other, go check the finances. Totally cool with that. There is no, this isn't a hard close.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be pressure, fear based, none of that shit. It's going to be straight up, is this a good fit for you? If it is, awesome. Go check. If it is, let me know, and let's make sure that you're in the group. So,
Which you have to be local, or are you doing this like remotely, or
all remote? So
okay.
Except for the men's retreat, which for this first group is all inclusive. So the program actually pays for that, other than your flight and hotel. Everything is included: food, speakers, activities, everything in terms of what we're doing on that retreat. It's a 2.5-day retreat, and again, when you hear, I hate to even say this because I feel like I'm salesy, but basically, when you hear the cost of it, you're gonna realize that with just the retreat alone, the cost is probably it would be for a retreat like that would be what you're really paying for, and you're basically getting this whole entire program for free. But now again, next year in January, I'm going to increase my prices slightly. But for this first group, I want to build it out the right way. So that's why I'm making it reasonable. So,
what is your best business advice you could give someone?
So it depends. So if I were to sit down with any entrepreneur, it depends on. Let me ask you this, Santiago: which phase of their business are they in?
Let's say right at the beginning, a kid that just got out of college and he can't find. Well, he can find a job, but wants to start a business.
Perfect. Okay, so that's way different because so a lot of the entrepreneurs that I coach usually have stable businesses, and I help them systemize. So for those business owners out there that already have some sort of business going, first tip I'll give you is you need to structure and systemize every single aspect of your company. You want to create and make it plug and play. And what I mean by that is you want to basically work your way out of your company completely to where you're no longer a need like that. And that's really cool. Now for the person who's getting out of college, or they're in their early phases, whether you're 30, 40, 50 or whatever, and you're starting a business for the first time, here's what I recommend is that first and foremost, you need to get extremely clear on who your target market is. So who are you trying to go after? This was my biggest weakness initially in business. So who is your target market? And you want to actually get really specific. Now, after you do that, then you want to come up with your business plan. A lot of times I see a lot of people just kind of just doing whatever. And then the third thing is you need to just take action. Take action and screw everything I just told you. Okay, so put out as much videos as you can. Go out there and knock on everybody's doors. Too many new businesses it's funny. So I just said I don't have my website going up for another month, and I already have paying clients. So why am I saying that? Most new business owners fall in the trap of I need to brand myself. I need to go get my nice pens with my business name on it. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I'll tell you right now, that is all wrong because one, you never know what you're going to evolve into. And so for me, as I'm building out this first group, the crazy part is my messaging has changed slightly as I go every week. And then what I'm going to discover is by the end of the program, my messaging and who my target audience might actually completely change. And when I'm building out the 12-week high performance training, some of the things that I think are important might not actually be important to my group. And that's why I didn't take 6 months here to build out 12 weeks of training. I'm going to build those 12 weeks out with this first group. It's going to be unbelievable. It's still going to be very valuable, but I'm going to discover, and pretty much I get 12 of my target market saying, Matt, here's what I want. And then that's what I'm going to use to build out. And a lot of times too many people spend the time to build out their business before they go try to get sales. And it's like, no, go get sales and build your business alongside that. But the number one thing is people who pay you for something. And if you don't have that, you don't have a business. I don't care if you have a business card with your name on it. Everyone who's listening is going to hate me for this. I don't have any business cards. And I need to eventually get some, but I actually have built multiple businesses without business cards. And the reason is that I think that too many people get wrapped up in that, too many people get wrapped up in that. So that would be my biggest tip for any newbie business owners. If your business isn't out there doing well and you just hit a wall, what you're missing is that you're just missing systems in your business, and you just need to get the book E-Myth, and it'll change your life.
I totally agree. When I first started, I was, first focused on getting my first client, my first sale, sales, and then, which I think you've heard this quote is, you build the plane while you're flying it. That quote's been like the quote of the month. Everyone's talking about that quote. But I totally agree with you on that one. Speaking about books, I heard you read a lot of books. What is your favorite business book?
So in Tyler's, I said The Power of Habit, and I'll tell you right now, it changed my life. But the biggest thing I'll give a different book here. I do read a lot, and I'll give the audience just a reason why. And this isn't to make people go, "Oh, good job, Matt." I don't really care. What it is that there was 2 years of my life, which were the previous 2 years, when I was out of shape, unhappy. Even though my business was growing, everything was kind of awry. And it was simple. I wasn't learning. I wasn't self-developing. And I want to tell you guys right now, the world of self-development is transforming, and it's amazing. And here's what it's transforming from. It's transforming from this like woo-woo-y, go get them, Tiger, to now it's all science-backed. And people are actually doing research, and they're giving you tangible ways that you can actually improve. And it's amazing versus back in the day, it's just like, yeah, go work harder. It's like, okay, I'm doing that. Why am I not getting results? So I'll tell anybody right now, there's 3 books that are on the brain. And I'll tell you, if you're an entrepreneur or you want to really improve your life, you got to study how your brain works. Because once you know how this thing works, you actually can adjust a lot of things in your life. And it took me forever to realize that. So the first book is The Brain That Changes Itself by Dr. Norman. I forget his last name, honestly, but The Brain That Changes Itself, Incognito by David Engelman. And then I'm reading a book right now by Joe Dispenza. It's called, it's by Joe Dispenza. I think it's called, I can't remember actually the title, but I'm in the middle of it right now. And honestly, it's changing my life as I'm reading it. So, but those are 3 quick business, brain books that you can study. And again, you might be going, business, why do I need to learn the brain? I should be learning a sales book. I should be learning this. I'll tell you right now, all that's up in here in the brain. Now, you need to go read sales books. You need to go read, technical, tangible business books. But if you can get your brain going the right way, you will be able to grow a business quicker.
I agree. Like the whole mentality thing is huge. I think a lot of people that start a business don't have the right mental state or like the right mental focus to start a business. It takes focus and things like that. What is your favorite quote?
So I think I mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to stick with it, is yell your goals from the rooftop and the village idiots will come out, and the village leaders will come help you. The reason this is so powerful to me is I've seen it in action. So when you take massive action, you're going to have stupid people tell you that you can't achieve what you're going to achieve. You're just going to. And it's just human nature. And unfortunately, sometimes it's your mom and dad. Right now, again, for me, I've been blessed with very supportive parents, but for me, actually, it was a reverse. It was myself. I kept making all these reasons and excuses in my brain of why I couldn't achieve, certain levels of success, and I needed to learn how to get my village idiots out of my own head. But what you're going to find is that out of nowhere, you're going to have people jump into your life, and you're like, wait, what the heck? Right? Wow, that's amazing. And it's so true. Now, the quote's by Brendan Burchard. I'm not associated with him in any regards. I didn't take his courses or anything like that, but I did read his book, and his book's really good, High Performance Habits. So,
ready for some random questions?
All right, let's do it.
Would you rather buy Bitcoin or gold?
Gold.
Would you rather, if you had an opportunity to talk to 1 hour, like with one of these guys, Gary V, Grant Cardone, or Ty Lopez, who would you pick?
Ooh, Gary V. Probably Grant Cardone.
Why?
I like the other two guys. I'm not a big fan of Ty Lopez, his image and his branding. And actually, I was the same with Grant Cardone, but I just started researching him more and watching more of his videos. If you would add Tom Belu to the list, I'd pick him. But out of those three guys, Grant Cardone. I like Gary Vee, but I've seen Gary Vee and Grant Cardone in the same room, and I'll tell you right now, the alpha out of the two is Grant, and he has some philosophies around how to actually increase your wealth that I really like, which if anybody hasn't checked this out, his big belief is this. And so here's my philosophy on those three guys and any guy in the self-development world that's a multimillionaire. Why the heck? Obviously, they make money off their courses and all that, but why are they still doing it? They're millionaires. Like, they can go sit on a beach. Why are they still freaking hustling? It's so cool. So when I started researching Grant Cardone, I was like, he's the one guy behind the scenes that shows you the behind the scenes. He actually talks about money, and he shows you, pulls the curtains so you can see what's going on. Ty Lopez won't tell you how much he makes, and he freaks me out a little bit in terms of who he is as a person. But Gary Vee, if Gary Vee would be a hard, it was hard between those two, but Grant, I just started getting more respect for the fact that he also has his family involved now, and he shows his wife and kids, which, again, he has a great wife and kids. So, it's a good marketing tactic. But he's opening up and pulling open so everyone can see behind the scenes. And he's very real. And, again, his biggest thing that I took was the fact that you should save 40% of your money and live on the rest and pretend that that's what you make. And I love that mentality, because that's how and he's teaching the average person how to create wealth versus just saying, hey, I'm a millionaire. If you're not a millionaire, fuck you. Excuse my language.
No, it's okay. No, it's funny you say that because Grant Cardone, I was very skeptical, but he kind of grew on me a lot. Gary Vee, I'm a Gary Vee fan, School of Gary Vee since 2008. Ty Lopez is actually growing on me a little bit. He's been on like some legit podcasts, so I'm kind of like, maybe I should take him serious.
So I take him serious. Here's the thing. I take him serious. Like, he's very successful, and if you actually look at his past and his what he's accomplished, the dude is a branding machine. I'm just not a fan of his brand. That's the hard part. So it's separating the man from his brand. So when you see Grant, so this is my belief. When you see Gary Vee and you see Grant Cardone, they are their brand. Like, they just are. They're very congruent. Ty Lopez, that a lot of what he does is to get views and to make money. And again, do I blame the guy? No, but that's not how I would want to live my life. So that's my only negative to Ty Lopez. But again, all three are awesome. But if you want to add some guys to your list for the other people that are on your podcast, look up Ed Milet, Tom Belu, and Lewis Howes. Now, those would be, all three of those guys would take precedent over even Grant Cardone for me. So.
Which I've heard of Lewis Howes, not 100% fan of him, but maybe I should look more into him and see what is up. What does a global entrepreneur mean to you?
I think it's just somebody who's known that can have an impact on the whole world, not just their community, which is, they've expanded their community. So that's all three of those guys you just mentioned are all global entrepreneurs, in my opinion, right? Because they can fly anywhere in the world and people know them. They know their face. I would say that that's a global entrepreneur. But again, for people out there, you don't have to be a global entrepreneur to have success or be happy. So you can be the local entrepreneur who owns the one shop in your neighborhood and you make $100,000 a year and you are wildly happy. So make sure that you're chasing the right thing that you really want and don't get wrapped up in the social media that we see all day long, every day, of that you need to be the next Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone. All those guys have been working for 15 plus years to get to where they're at today. So, don't forget that.
That is the reality. Yeah. I mean, they took time to get where they're at right now. How much can you bench?
I can bench. So I haven't done physical, let's see. I think my max is 350 right now.
Wow.
I think.
That's pretty good. And
I think.
Go ahead.
No, that's it.
I gotcha. What would you tell your 15-year-old self?
Ooh, good question. So I would actually go back and I was a high achiever, but I would go back and say, I would help myself remove some of the insecurities that I had behind the scenes that a lot of people didn't know about. And I would tell them that, I guess the other thing I would do, where I grew up, reading was not necessarily a big deal. So I would hand myself probably a bag of books and say, Matt, start reading these puppies this year. And I would have gotten a lot quicker of a head start than I had. But I didn't read many books in high school at all because it wasn't, my parents didn't read that much. It's just where I grew up. It's not a big deal. So I would say those would be the two things. One is I would hand myself a bag of books that would change my life now. And then two, I would just basically say, hey, your insecurities don't really matter, dude. Like, stop worrying about that. It's stupid.
Yeah. Lastly, what is your favorite Rocky movie?
Ooh, I'm Rocky 1. This is hard because I love the new one, the Creed. I mean, if you count Creed in there, but
It's counted.
Rocky 1 is the best one. And then, but the reason I like Creed is it's the same exact, literally if you watch Rocky 1 and go watch Creed, they're the same exact movie. Everything about it. So, but I would say that was my favorite Rocky movie.
Also, lastly, I know your last name is Italian. Which part of Italy is your family from?
Sicily, and I think so. Most of them are from Sicily, and then I forget where. There's one other portion, but I look more Irish and Polish than Italian. But I got the cool last name, which I've actually I love representing. So Balducci.
And what is your favorite Italian dish?
So right now I can't really eat a lot of Italian because I'm on a meal plan that won't allow me to, but I would say that if I had to pick, it's tough. I would say fettuccine Alfredo fettuccine.
Sounds good to me.
So it's super fattening for you, but delicious.
Yeah, that's the thing with Italian food. It's so good, but it's so much carbs and salt, so like you can only have it once in a while.
Unfortunately, in America, a lot of I'm not from Italy by any means, but if you research it, a lot of the Italian dishes that we eat here that are Italian are really just Americanized. The amount of pasta we get. When I played baseball in Italy in high school, it was nuts. Everything was a lot less. You get just a lot less of everything. A lot less sauce, a lot less noodles on your pizza, a lot less cheese. And but we've just like a Mexican food and Taco Bell and all these places, we've Americanized it and just made it American. So.
Yeah, no, it's true because I agree. I I was in Italy about 3-4 years ago, and the food, it was light. Like whenever you eat a pizza, I didn't feel too bloated, so it was weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, how can people reach you, Matt?
So I recommend if you're just looking for free content, you can go to my YouTube channel, Matt Balducci. I post videos on all my social media platforms every single day. It's one of my goals every day is to give value to the world, and also it gives me energy too. So there is a selfish component, but you get free, it's free. If you're a guy out there that owns a business and you're looking for a coach, I have no problem chatting with you. But really, what my true passion is right now is speaking and growing my men's high performance program, the Healthier, Wealthier, Happier Man. So if you're interested in just learning more. Simple. You can either contact me on LinkedIn, like I mentioned, or you can go to go.mattbalducci.com/momentum, and you can schedule a free call with me. Worst case scenario, we chat. Nothing goes of it. I give you some value, you give me some value, and we go our separate ways. Or it makes sense for us to work together in some capacity. Or if you have a podcast, or you're looking for a speaker to come on and talk about health optimization, productivity hacks, or just high performance in general, reach out to me. I would love to pop in and chat with your audience. So,
Matt, you are full of knowledge, man. It feels like you're focused, and I think that's what people really need. They need to focus on what they need to focus on. Any closing words?
I would just say from what you just said is that as much as I just took that in and absorbed it in my initial I'm not. But really, yes, I'll take that compliment. And people need, especially high performers, take a minute, celebrate your achievements. I was the worst at this, and this is what actually caused me to be unhappy 2 years ago, is I did not take time to actually slow down, get oil in my car, right, which is kind of funny that I'm sitting here at the dealership, but get oil in my car and to fill up on gas every now and then and take a break and let it sit. And, so take time to actually enjoy what you're doing and, don't it's hard to say this, get there fast, but get there right. So that way you don't get there fast and then you're pissed off that you didn't go the right direction. So sometimes you get to the wrong thing. So that would be my last words for the audience, is just, and then continue just learning, be a learner. So
man, that's one thing. It's funny because I've been reading more books this past year, especially on like business and entrepreneurship. I read like the Ray Kroc book. I read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and I'm reading Think and Grow Rich with Napoleon Hill. So I'm reading some more books. I'll definitely check out your books you just mentioned, E-Myth and all that, because you learn something. I just take an hour at Starbucks every night and read, and hey, it doesn't hurt. You're gaining value. So thank you.
Awesome. I appreciate you having me, Santiago, and I would love to connect post this podcast. And thank you for having me on.
Will do, man. Thank you very much.